Here's how to change the fuel filter on your NA or NB MX-5 Miata. Hello folks, this is my NB MX-5 track car, and today I'm going to change the fuel filter on it, and I'm going to bring you along for the ride so you can see how to do it for yourself. It's a very simple process, not daunting at all. Yes, you are playing with fuel, but don't worry, it's not that hard. For the tools you'll need a screwdriver or plastic trim tool to remove the shroud that covers the filter, some basic sockets, 10mm is all you need in this case. I've got some small screwdrivers or picks to remove the fuel lines from the filter, some way to remove the wheels from the car, something to catch all the leaky fuel you're going to get, a light because it gets a little dark under there, and of course your new fuel filter. Let's get to it. First things first, pop the fuel flap and open the fuel cap. That'll relieve any pressure in the tank. Now you're going to need to get underneath the vehicle, so jack up the car. Of course, always use jack stands to keep the car secure. Remove the rear right wheel, and we can get to work. So you're going to be working in this area just inside the rear right wheel well. You can see the plastic shroud here we need to remove. There are some plastic clips that you can remove with a Phillips head screwdriver. Just a quarter turn counterclockwise and they pop out, and then you can pull them out by hand or use some plastic trim removal tools if need be. With the shroud out of the way, we have access to the fuel filter and of course the fuel lines that feed into it. We need to remove the fuel lines from the filter. In my case on the NB, it has these retaining clips which can be a little fiddly to remove. For me, just using a simple 90-degree pick is usually the easiest way to get them off. There are proper formal tools that you should be using for this, but honestly the small pick seems to work just fine. Now you are going to get a little bit of spillage, so this is where you need to have your drain pan underneath the filter. There's not really any easy way to prevent spillage, so just be prepared for it, and then it's not such a big headache. With the two fuel lines removed from the filter, we can then get to work on removing the filter itself from the car. To do so, there are two M6 10mm head bolts that we can remove, and then the whole bracket comes out of the car. Now we need to work a little bit quickly here because you are probably going to be draining a small amount of fuel. So you can see here I removed the final fuel line from the filter and then simply slide the filter out of the bracket. Again, we have an M6 10mm bolt we need to loosen to be able to remove the filter from the bracket. That is disassembly complete. We can now move on to installing the new filter. Of course, first things first, we take it out of the box and check that it visually matches the existing one, and we're not going to experience any troubles with the reinstall. In my case, you can see that they are a slightly different color, but the filter itself is dimensionally accurate. Slide the filter into the bracket, reattach the fuel line, and of course we can take this new unit back under the car and get reinstalling. Back under the car, first thing you want to do is ensure all of your fuel lines are hooked up to alleviate any of that fuel loss. Then we get to work on attaching the bracket to the car with the two M6 10mm bolts. Keep the bolt that holds the fuel filter in place loose at this point, so you do have a bit of opportunity to swivel and rotate it later on. And then once the bracket is tight, the fuel lines are attached, then you can finally tighten up the bracket itself. Of course, we reinstall our plastic shroud now. This simply slides into place, and then the plastic clips just kind of pop back into the holes from where they came. And last but not least, we can reinstall our rear right wheel, get your wheel nuts on and torque those to spec. Remove the jack stands from under the car and lower the car back down from the jack. And of course, don't forget to tighten up your fuel cap and close the lid. And that is the job complete. It really is not a difficult task, no more than about half an hour's work, and even the most amateur home mechanic can do it on their car. Thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.